Hi, and welcome to the 2017 high school football season. My name is Michael Beaven with the Akron Beacon Journal and Ohio.com. You are watching Gridlocks with my boss, Scot Fagerstrom. We're back for another season of gridiron madness. Scott, where would you like to start this year?
We're ready to get rolling here. Friday night we've got non-conference rivals, Elliot and Springfield, taking on each other. It's always a good game. What do you think about this matchup early on?
Well, you look at Elliot, Joe Yost, their legendary coach for basically about 4 decades. He's now an assistant coach, and Chuck Schumann is now their head coach, a guy who's been with Joe for a long time as an offensive guru. They graduated a lot of players the last few years over at Elliot. They only returned about 3 or 4 starting players. Springfield, on the other hand, they returned quite a few guys. Zach DeLauro is their best player. He's a guy who's been experienced on the varsity level for a few years now, so it could be a really interesting game. It's always an interesting game with these two rivals. I mean, there's a good friendly rivalry there. Jonah Carter is one of Elliot's best players. He's a senior now, so should be a good one. Elliot's won the last few, but I think Springfield might come out on top this year in Spartanland.
All right, and we'll move on to defending City Series champion East. They're traveling down to the Federal League to play Jackson. Rugged league, the Federal League, so it's a good test for East coming out of the gates.
Yeah, East last year, we talked about their 3 UA recruits, Jamarlin Suggs, DeAndre Brimage, and Marquise Callaway. Those kids are all at the University of Akron now. They graduated. What do they bring in this year?
3 more.
3 more. And I mean, I would not bring in. They were already there.
Right.
Deshaun Brimage, the younger brother of DeAndre, Ramon Fields, and Devoneer Floyd. These are 3 really good players. They also have William Collier, who transferred from Hoban to East, and another kid named Jerome Hall, who was at Kenmore last year that is now enrolled at East. So they return a number of starters, have a new couple newcomers that are really intriguing. Jackson's at home, though, and they are a playoff team, too. Jared Pilata's their quarterback, state championship basketball player. He's going to UMass for football. This should be a really interesting game. A lot of speed on the field. I'm picking East to win this game. I know Jackson's won it the last few years, but I think this might be the year where East, a playoff participant last year in D3, gets off on a 1-0 start.
And then we have another non-conference matchup between Chippewa and Manchester that we'll be covering. Jim France has a family affair going on over there with 2 of his sons on the coaching staff and a grandson on the team. He's closing in on the all-time Ohio coaching wins record, and he'll open up at home against Chippewa.
Yeah, I think Manchester, you look at this game, I'm picking Manchester to win with the France connection there. There's just a lot of emotion with his 2 sons, Jason and Jeff. JoJo's a tremendous 2-way player for them at wide receiver and also at defensive back. And then the granddaughter, Janice, is the water girl. So I don't want to forget about the water girl. And as far as you look at their team, they're a little, they're lacking in depth. But it sounds like their first 11, 12 guys are pretty good football players. They're at home. I think Chester gets this game.
All right. We move on to Saturday when we'll get the debut of the new consolidated high school, Kenmore Garfield. They'll be home against Coventry. And when you combine 2 rosters, you should expect a little bit better team, you think. And then Kenmore Garfield might surprise some people this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at these 2 teams, this one team, the undivided team is what Kent Boyd is calling them. You look at guys like Brandon Moody Carter, Mark Hale, Damone Adams, 3 guys that have been leaders on this merger so far, and they're really feeling good about themselves. They're coming in with a lot of confidence as a new team. They are the Kenmore Garfield Golden Rams, and their first game is against the local rival, Coventry Comets. They have an Akron recruit as well, and Treyon Sibley. So should be a good one. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff over there on Saturday at Kenmore Stadium, and we'll see how that plays out.
And then the big one is Thursday night game tonight, St Ignatius against Hoban. Hoban is the defending 2-time defending state champion team, and they couldn't have a more difficult home opener against a perennial powerhouse like St Ignatius.
Right, yeah. St Ignatius last year is a state runner-up in D1 to Cincinnati St. Xavier. They've won, I think, like 11 or 12 state championships in about the past 20 years. 20 years? 30 years. Well, whatever. They've won a lot. And then Hoban, you talked about, they now move up to D2 for the postseason. They graduated several good players, Todd Sibley, Danny Clark, and Jabari Taylor. But they returned 5 kids who've already committed to play Division I college football. And that helps. I mean, when you got experience like that, these kids were starting players, guys like R.J. Kelly, Nate Bauer, Deshaun Martin, Nolan Rumler, and Garrett Hauser. Those 5 kids have all experienced a lot of winning, 14-1 the last 2 years, and they're at home. So this should be a really good test for them, and we'll see how they come out here tonight.
Right, and there are some other decent games also on Friday night that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Barberton's playing Norton. That's at Norton, I believe?
I believe so, yeah, Barberton and Norton.
And then you have Firestone, Wadsworth, Twinsburg, Copley, and Falls and Roosevelt. All good games that we could have spoken a little bit more about, but You don't have all day.
Right, and a lot of this stuff, to plug our preview,
Right,
a lot of this stuff will be in the high school football preview.
Yeah.
Barberton with Key Thompson is one of the players we featured. You look at Firestone and Buchtel and Wadsworth and Copley and Revere, all of which will be in capsules. Cuyahoga Falls and Kent Roosevelt are two teams that are reloading, trying to rebuild and have good seasons. So there's a lot to look for in the Akron Beacon Journal and Ohio.com, and we'll be here all season.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.